I wanted to talk about you sending or going to therapy with, dude, when I saw that episode,
Yeah.
first off, shout out to your mother and father.
Yeah, I appreciate them.
I don't know many people's parents, bro, who would go. I don't. And the fact that your parents did says a lot about who they are and what their commitment level is to you and all their children. I mean, even if you're the one inviting them, that's something that trickles down to the whole family unit,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
What was it like when you went to your parents and said, hey, I want y'all to come to therapy with me?
It was cool. Like, surprisingly, it's just because my parents, they desired to have a better relationship with me. And I think that, I need to ask them though, I think they knew that if they wanted to have this relationship, this is going to be a part of it. So my mom came first. We had an in-person session. Bro, like, I get emotional talking about this joint. Like, I literally cried in my mother's lap in therapy. Like a little boy. I'm like on this couch. My therapist is bringing up parts of my childhood, and I'm literally like balled up in the fetal position in my mom's lap, just crying out all the things I've always wanted to tell my moms. You know, I always get emotional because it's like, I'm thankful that my mom's was the mom that she was, you know. And to me, when I was going through that phase of like that uneasy part of like, you know, relationships with your parents, doing the best that you could just wasn't enough for me.
Yeah.
And as I grew as a man and I grew emotionally and I started learning more about family systems and all that types of stuff, it's like, she was a kid raising a kid, doing the best that she could, trying to like, you know, raise a kid, have a life. And the fact that she was receptive to all the things that, you know, I was saying. Now, of course, there was a little bit of, you know, like when, you know, well, I was this way or this is what happened, this type of stuff like that happened in the session. But it was just like, thank God for my therapist who was able to see that and kind of like pull things back into the loop of where it needed to be. And, you know, my mom, you know, she said, she apologized to me. You know, and that's all I really wanted was an apology.
Wow.
And I just didn't know I didn't know how to say it.
And you kind of don't want to.
Yeah, you don't.
It's almost like, tell me you love me. And it's like, if I gotta tell you to tell me.
It don't. Why do I tell you? It don't mean nothing, but it's just, I think she just needed to understand more and just to hear it. And when she heard it, you know, she empathized with me and she apologized, you know, and that's all I really wanted.
Did things come up for you? Did things come up for your mom that helped, that you were unaware of, that helped put her story into humanize her?
Yeah, I learned more about my moms in those sessions. You know, just her journey growing up, you know, being adopted, not knowing who your real biological mother is, you know. So it's like she has her whole situation going on while trying to raise 3 kids and be a wife.
Yeah.
You know, so at a young age, like I remember my parents, but I was in it. So it's like, you know, she got all that, you know, that mystery of like, who do I come from? Like she grew up with her biological father her entire life, but it's just still a part of her missing. Yeah. So the part of her that's missing, sometimes she couldn't show up as a mom like she wanted to. And as I grew older, my emotions and understanding them, like, yo, like I can't fault my moms anymore because she had her own baggage that she was dealing with and still trying to raise a kid. I couldn't imagine doing that.
Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine. So it's like, why am I holding my moms to all this stuff that happened in the past when she's just trying to love me? She's just trying to understand me. She's just trying to have a relationship with me. And it's like, I can't keep doing that to her. I'm doing more damage and more harm to my bloodline than I am good. And I get some people's like, you know, oh no, she need to be, like, I've had some people say, you know, you don't need to forgive your moms need to forgive. I'm like, no, like, and I had to quiet that noise out my ear because had I listened to them people, my parents and I wouldn't have had the relationship that we have right now. Everybody got to start somewhere, you know. I think therapy scares our parents' generation because it's so much to unpack.
It's a lot, bro.
And it's like, if you don't know what to do with that, you would drive yourself crazy. Like, I got to go back there. Yeah. You know, I'm here in 2023 and I got to go back to 1970, 1960s. Yeah. You know, when there was so much going on, racism, Jim Crow, you know, being a teenage parent or whatever, a young parent, whatever it be, drug, alcohol, all that types of stuff. A lot of people don't know how to deal with that stuff.
How was the joint with your dad, bro?
The same. Virtual appointment. I'm in the car driving. Had to pull over because I'm crying again. Because I had to tell my dad about himself. And I didn't want to do that. Like, there's things my parents said to me that I can still recall to this day that hurt me. And having to tell your parents that, you know, that especially my dad, who always been there for me. My dad was my coach. Any sport I played, he showed up. It's not like he wasn't there, he wasn't present. I just think my dad didn't know how to show up for me emotionally as a child. I think that was like our biggest disconnect. My dad, to this day, he'll tell me if I'm in a chewing gum contest, he's gonna show up, and I know he will. I can always count on my parents to show up for me. That's one thing they always did do. As parents, as kids, basketball games, they showed up. Recitals, poetry contests, chess contests, baseball. Parents hated baseball, but they still showed up.
Both of them?
Both of them.
That's beautiful.
Both of them. My parents been together 30 plus years. Through whatever they've gone through, they thugged it out, figured it out. And, telling my dad some things that hurt me was like this. It was painful. I'm crying. I'm in the car crying because like my dad is like me. And my dad are very similar, very stubborn. Sometimes can be really hard headed. Don't want to hear the other side of the story sometimes. So it's like sometimes I feel like when I'm talking to my dad, it's like I could be talking to a brick wall. I'm talking to myself. So it was just hard because like I think the emotional part for me was like just getting him to understand my point of view. And I think my therapist helped him to understand my point of view. My dad always like, how's your therapist doing? Like, how you doing? What's new in your life? It's just like those conversations and what we're having nowadays. What's going on? Like, I feel like now I can't go to my dad. Once upon a time, I didn't want to go to my dad for advice. I'll go find it somewhere else. But now it's like, I appreciate the fact that me and my dad got over the hurdles that we had that I had in my childhood, in my teenage years, my young adult years. We've gotten all of that stuff. Like, I'm not even holding my pops for that stuff no more. Because it's just, I'm not saying I'm making up for lost time, but I'm making up for the time that we still have here present on this earth right now.